Just a quick disclaimer before the video starts. I don't know a lot of drain specific tech, so I'm not going to be going over those. And there'll be timestamps in the description. I hope you enjoy. Alright, first off we're going to be worrying about your inventory and your hotbar layout. For your hotbar layout, you'll want the ink crystals to the left of your obsidian, and your respawn anchors to the left of your glowstone. And when you press your inventory button, you'll notice your mouse is in the center. This is where you want your totems, as they'll be the fastest to get to. And just set up your inventory as you would like, keeping this in mind. For keybinds, here are two videos that will be in the description. The first one is the Ultimate Minecraft PvP Keybind Guide by Theobald, and the second one is the Best Crystal PvP Keybind Guide by Kessie. For that video, just skip to 138. For texture packs, I use the Donut SMP Essentials with 18% damage tilt on, PvP Sounds by Zip, and generic bare bones under all of that. If you want everything to be really smooth, I would turn off damage tilt completely, put on Theobald's overlay of bare bones, and then just throw on some low-fired texture pack you can find. There's plenty of videos out there of texture packs, go find what you like. For PvP servers, I play on PvP Club and Crystal Ranked, and if you want to practice flat, the IP for that server will be on the screen. If you want a server where the gear is pretty valuable, I would try Wild Kits or Crystal Box. There's also the Donut SMP, of course. Links to the Theobald bot will be in the description as well. Alright, for the main part of the video, it's going to be in 3 sections of tiers, Tier 5, Tier 4, and Tier 3. These are just some things I would generally expect to see from a player in that tier, and of course this doesn't include everything. Alright, first up for Tier 5, I would expect them to know how to totem correctly. What you want to do is, let's say you popped the totem in your hotbar. You would still press your keybind to hold that slot, switch to your inventory, and then totem. The reason for that is, let's say you're holding your sword. You pop, you lose your offhand. You go into your inventory. First thing you might click is your hotbar totem, right? Your mind hasn't completely registered that your offhand has popped. Well, are you holding any totems? Nope. So you die. You want to be holding a totem. So always switch to that hotbar slot, totem, and now you're holding both. The correct way to anchor is to place it down and explode it using your hotbar totem. The reason is because once you inevitably pop yourself, even if it's a safe anchor, you want to hold your hotbar totem. The reason is because once you pop yourself, you'll still be holding a totem in your offhand. But if you explode it using your sword or something, you're not holding a totem. And if you're not holding a totem, you're dead. For Tier 5, you want to be practicing your safe anchors. You want to go as slow as you need to go for perfection. If you mess up, like, I don't know, you place 2. Stop, slow down, try again. Go even slower. Speed will come after you have consistency. And eventually, after a lot of practice, you'll be much faster. And as well, you can... I know you can on Theobald's bot, like turn on resistance. I don't think you can on this server. I believe you can on Crystal Ranked. But you can spam suicide anchors like this. Work for totem practice a little bit. But again, if you mess up, go a little bit slower. You want to be consistent over speed in everything you practice. Along with doing lots of safe anchor and regular anchor practice, you should be practicing safe anchoring using obsidian. The reason will be explained later in the video. Right now at Tier 5, you probably won't be using it very much. But later, I know personally in whole fights, I use obsidian quite a lot. And another thing, when you're in a whole fight, this is kind of like a safe anchor right there. You can place it here and use the terrain to your advantage. I didn't take any damage there, really. And so, like here, you could stand here and anchor if the player was here. And then, you know, from that situation, they'd probably block it up, right? Well, now you're here, you're 1 block lower, and then you can anchor again. And then maybe pro behind him, like D-tap, I don't know. Alright, the next section after anchors is going to be crystals. For a Tier 5, I would expect them to be able to place the obsidian, hit the player towards the obsidian, and then go for 2 taps. Maybe not consistently, but it shouldn't be too hard after some practice. And also to be able to just do a hit crystal. So instead of pre-placing it and going for 2, you can just hit them and then place it and go for 1. In tier 4, I would expect D-taps where you hit them and go for 2 with the placing it. But for right now, it's okay to pre-place, and it's okay just to go for 1. And if you're struggling to place your obsidian, like you do this and it just doesn't quite place, a good practice is just to hit them and then place your obsidian. Make sure you get that down consistently, and then you can start going for crystalling. If you can't quite get the crystal, like if you can't get the place and then the crystal in time, just practice going a line like this. You know, you can walk sideways. If you notice, the crystal hitbox does peer into the bottom of the obsidian, so you don't have to look at the crystal. You can look down like this, so it's less movement. The less movement, the better. One thing I forgot to mention, because I'm still working on it, I learned it wrong. Before you go for a hit crystal, you want to make sure you're holding your totem. You can practice kind of attribute swapping to your sword. So you get the knockback. And it's not just hitting them with the totem. And this way you're always holding a totem for as long as possible. So if you get D-tapped and you're holding a sword, you're not going to die. You'll just pop both totems. You should be going for something that looks like this. One thing I see in lower tiers is they'll be in a position like that and think they're safe, which, you know, to another very, very terrible player, yeah, you probably would be. But in a lot of situations, when you're up here, let's say they pull out an apple and they're like, okay, I'm safe. Well, no, you're not, because I can just go here and start crystal spamming. So always make sure before you gapple, you're not right on a ledge like this. And when you're on a ledge, you know, you want to go up, stand on obsidian, because they can always go below you. And you'd be safe, not unless you have that obsidian there. But you want to make sure you're in a safe place before you eat a golden apple. And in whole fights, when if you can get D-tapped or anchor spam, don't be eating an apple. Don't do it. It's not good for your health. Remember, it's better to run out of totems than to die with an inventory full of them. And if your aim needs a lot of work, I'd recommend playing some Net Pot or Diamond Pot. And if those are a little bit too difficult, just go to Sword and play a little bit of that. And again, you're not there to win, you're just trying to improve your aim, so don't worry about it, don't stress about it. Alright, the first thing I'm going to go over using Theobald Spot, which I highly recommend you get, is going to be Pearl Flashing. So set it to medium mode, make sure resistance is off, and every time he throws the pearl, he will try to hit you and D-tap. A Pearl Flash is when he goes to hit you, if you pearl down, so you're already taking damage, he can't hit you. And you take absolutely no knockback. It might take a lot of practice, but this is probably one of the best things you can practice on here, in my opinion. Especially at a lower tier. Alright, the next thing I'm going to go over on Theobald Spot is for totem practice. Make sure it's on medium mode with resistance off. You are not wearing double blast prot. And start with a tick rate of 20, which is the default. You will just stand here holding your totem hand and totem, but you don't want to stay in your inventory. You want to be out of your inventory as much as possible, so I like to just punch the bot like this. And totem just as fast as I can. And once that's too easy, you can do /tick rate, and then change it or 30, 40, 50. Let's try 70. Let's see how crazy this is. Yeah, definitely pop a lot more, and you get some double pops. Yeah, I died because I messed up. It's really good practice. I highly recommend it, and let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Alright, for the next section, you can do on Theobalds or just your favorite server, and practice just using your mechanics. If you mess up, go a little bit slower. And just fight the air, basically. Just have smooth motions. No noticeable pauses. Every time you totem, you shouldn't freeze. You should be able to totem and then keep going. Go as slow as you need to be smooth. And then with time, you'll speed up. And then as well, on top of this, you can do it with a bot. Practice this. Let me wait for that. On a bot, you can practice changing the bot. I still do this to warm up a lot. And with this, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, which will be tier 4. So once you believe you can do all of this, let's move on. Alright, the next section, which is tier 4, we're going to start with D-taps. So you're going to, I like Apple PvP for this the most. You spawn your bot with /bot, and then again, it's easiest to D-tap if you move them in the direction. Let me get the saturation down. There we go. Hit them in the direction of your obsidian that you can place. And when you pearl on them, you kind of want to aim towards the feet. And anyways, doing lots of this is a good warm-up as well. Okay, and also to be practicing anchor chains at tier 4, like this. This guy's on double blast prot, doesn't have to be. But consistency. And with lower tier players, lower than you, and that can't quite anchor, or can't quite totem as fast, you might be able to get them stuck just in the inventory toteming, like this. It's pretty difficult to do, but with enough practice, you'll get it down. Alright, now the purpose of using obsidian instead of glowstone is this. In the whole fight, when you use glowstone, it breaks all of these blocks as well. But when you use obsidian, you stay up a block. So when you're up a block, you can anchor again for 2 pops, and then you can pearl on them, and then D-tap. It should look something like this. And you can use it in your fights. And it's also used defensively. So if they're running to the middle, right? You pop them once and they're immediately running again. A good thing to do is if you pop them once with the safe anchor using obsidian, and then they stop and they start running again. Well, you can just pop them again, and they stop and they start running again, and then you can probably maybe suicide anchor for another one, hit and go for D-tap, but you don't have to pearl on them at that point, and you just got 2 more free pops. And a lot of times that will kill him. You can also stand up on it, and then go for another one, and then pearl down, depending on the situation. And they're also defensive. Like I'd say using obsidian is an offensive thing, but it's also a defensive thing at the same time. Because you're very protected here, and you're also attacking them. The only danger is after that explodes, you're getting your up a block. So if they're fast, they can pearl here and then start spamming crystals, but that doesn't happen very often. There's another mechanic, I'm not sure what it's called, but when you hit them, you can go for 2 pops. If you don't hit them, you're only getting 1 pop at a time. As an example, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. It's kind of slow, but if you hit them, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So if they're up on a ledge like this, at this distance I would anchor. You'd hit them, go for 2 pops if they're single blast prot. And then you can hit them again here, and then anchor twice. 1, 2. That's 2 pops. Hit them again. Even though they're already up, you still want to hit them. 1, 2. And so you just want to keep that in mind. There you'll get 2 pops. And then for a triple, you can do like a D-tap, and then an anchor for 3. So 1, 1, 2, 3. I didn't hit him there, so it was only 1 pop. 3. Get some more blocks here, but you can chain it. Just this simple pattern. Another thing to practice is to hit them and then anchor twice for 2 pops. This is something I've only started working on since I'm low tier 3, but I believe I could have done it at high tier 4. Hit them. And, oh, that was too slow. 1, 2. 1, 2. Also, in whole fights, at this point you should sometimes have to block up, especially if you're a single blast prot. Let's say there, you get up here, you know, you shield, you get launched back really far to here. Well, you don't want to just stay shielding, right? So I like to kind of wait till the moment they stop crystalling, because they have to stop crystalling for a second to switch and pearl, if they're going to aggro. And then you can block up. You want to make sure you get all the way around. I like to jump up one, and then they can try to, even on a something like this. Let me put a bot there. Even from here, they can still D-tap you, even if they're down here. So just watch out for that. Block up, pearl away. And the best times to shield, I'm going to go over this later, but when you're behind a wall like this, let's say they're anchoring down, right? And you know they're going to anchor here, get below you, and that's just a bad position, right? So you want to go ahead and send a pearl, and then hold a shield. Because they don't know you're holding a shield, and they won't be ready in time before you're out of there. I don't know of any good ways to practice blocking up, besides maybe just asking a friend to. Just putting yourself in situations and fights where you just have to block up. I like to butterfly click for this. I'm sure if you're used to Better Wars or Sky Wars, especially on like 1.8, you'd already be good at butterfly clicking, so you should be set just to apply this to your games. If you're in a whole fight and there's 2 anchors in front of you, do you use obsidian or glowstone here? I would vote for obsidian, because if this one blows up first and then this one blows up, you're not going to pop. However, if it's glowstone, you take a lot of damage, and you would pop if you were low. So if there's 2 here, I would recommend you place obsidian, and then always blow up the one away from you first. It gets much more damage out and destroys more terrain than if you explode the one closest to you. I mean, it is situational, but in most cases you would want to do that. So you can pop them once, because these are single pops. If you spam them both, it'll just be 1 pop, right? So if they're close enough that both anchors could pop them, you wouldn't want to just spam them. You would want to explode one of them, wait a tick for it to take off their totem, and then do the other one so you get 2 pops out of that instead of just 1. And again, you want to break the one farthest from you first. If you have reason to believe that the enemy is low health, such as maybe they just popped, maybe you just failed to detap, but you know you almost popped them, a good idea, if you're kind of playing a little bit more drained, is you can, if you know they're low, right, instead of pearling on them and then detapping, which they can counter with a pearl flash, one thing you can do is maybe have your shield ready, pearl on them as soon as your pearl lands, you know, you want to be a distance, anchor next to them for pop, and then leave and then kind of shield as you're on your way out, and then you'll just get a free pop. Learning when to aggro, maybe you know they're pulling out their crossbow and about to try to shoot with it, you know, maybe they're loading it, and they're just a little bit too close, or they're just not expecting it. You pearl on them and then go for D-tap, or Crystal Spike, which I'll be going over later in the Tier 4 section. And another thing, if they're really low in health and you're kind of playing a little bit flat, you can just spam the crystals. You see how that does? That does a good amount of damage, right? So if you know you're higher health and they're low, you can spam crystals, get a pop, and then while they're toteming, you can go for a D-tap. This isn't something I learned until I was late into high tier 4, was what a flower anchor was. A flower anchor is when you anchor on top of an obsidian, like this, and it can catch people off guard if they're kind of over here, or kind of close. You can flower anchor and then pearl down to one of these holes, and then catch them off guard. Alright, moving on to tier 3, I'm going to go with popcording or floating bots. I really highly recommend using Apple PvP spot. I find it just so much easier to D-tap on here. Give them some soul falling, spawn the bot, and then you can pre-place to get him in the air. Might take me a few tries, but keeping them in the air as long as you can. If you pop, totem, and just doing that. Alright, up next is going to be, I believe it's called circling. It's when you safe anchor and walk in a circle in the whole fight. I've not been doing this for too long. It's a newer thing I've started working on. It's pretty fun to do. It's not exactly easy, but it's very satisfying if you can do it on players. And make sure the bot has double blast problem. Also, in some situations, especially against double blast part players, sometimes you can place a block under them. Again, you want to aim towards the top of the block here, and then go for 2 pops. So maybe like 1 pop, 1, 2. One pop, 1, 2. And then of course you can anchor for another one. Alright, that'll conclude this video. A little bit more information. If you play single blast prot, you'll want to abuse ledges and use your shield. For recording and clipping and rewinding things to review and montages, I use Shadow Rewind on Lunar Client. It's one of the mods that comes with it. And I hope this video has been a really good help. If you've made it this far, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.